quoting tool e-application platform. So to start accessing the e-app, you will have to start by running a quote. So in your quote results page, any carriers that are available for the e-application, you will see this apply now button. So when you click on apply now, the first step is going to validate you are appointed with that particular carrier. The first time you try to submit an application for the carrier, you will have to enter in your writing number or your so each time that you enter, we are validating that you are appointed with that carrier. Application here, you will see your writing number and your producer number automatically carried over, as well as that quote that you initially ran. So there's a couple navigation bars at the top. You can collapse those, that way you have a little bit more room to see on your screen. As I mentioned, your quote information carries over here on the right. Any initial documents as far as the application and outline of coverage, the terms, everything is available. So if you needed a paper version of the application, you can open those, download them. You can also send any of these documents as well by selecting email address and then typing in the email and clicking send documents. So when you are going through the application, it's first going to ask you to select your underwriting type. So depending on the situation, certain sections will appear for you to go through each of the sections. So if you were doing a fully written application, you will have those health questions and medication section. Date of birth. And then it is going to ask us for our eligibility. So what this application is going to do is based upon your underwriting type, based upon your client's date of birth, their Medicare Part A and Part B effective dates, it will make sure that the type of application, underwriting type that you are submitting is accurate. It's also going to make sure that any of the new macro rules are taken into consideration here too. So if I was trying to submit an application for a plan type that the individual is not eligible for, it will notify me of that and make sure that I change that before submitting the application. Really what this application is meant to do is make sure that your applications are all submitted in good working order. So it is validating as you go through each of the sections of the application. What's also unique about this platform is that whether you are submitting a application for Aetna or Mutual or any other carrier that is on this platform, it is going to be the same process, the same look and feel. So there's only one application that you have to learn and understand how to work. So with this, I will just start by going through each of the sections on the application. So I'll just go through and complete each of these sections. You can navigate through the application. So if you needed to start by doing their application information, if you for some reason have to skip to the method of payment or ever come back to certain sections, you can skip through the sections. When the section is complete, you will see this green check mark just letting you know that section is complete. All the information has been validated. If you see a yellow icon, that means there's either incorrect information, it doesn't match what you are entering, or there are parts of that section that you still need to go in and complete. Once each of these sections have been completed, that's when you can go ahead and review and lock the application. So we're just going to quickly go through the steps here of submitting the application. You can see that you can change your plan type, you can change your effective date versus the original that you quoted here at the top. So this app, you can work through it. You can see that I am not eligible for a Plan F because of my Medicare Part A and Part B effective dates. You can change this application, so if they wanted to change from a G to an N, anything that you do will automatically update the quote details. So if you originally quoted a non-tobacco and they answer yes to the tobacco question, it will change that rate for you. So it is a smart application. It's going to go through and validate everything that you are typing. So we're going to start by just starting to fill out the applicant's information, first, last name. their address, home phone number, age, date of birth. So if you enter an incorrect age and the date of birth does not match, it will update this the quote. If it is an application that is based upon the height and weight, if there are requirements for that, it will notify you. What also it's going to do here as kind of talk through this as I'm filling out the application, you as you are going through this sections, especially the health questions, the medications, if you answer yes to a health question, that is going to be a knockout health question, or if you enter a knockout medication, the system is going to notify you of that. So over at the top here, you have your overview, you have your notifications. So if you did enter something that is incorrect as far as your underwriting type goes, or you submit a health condition that is a decline, it will notify you of that and make sure that you are aware, just so your application is submitted in good working order. Here's a section for household premium discount. So if there was a household discount, it will ask you to fill out that information. In this example, we're going to say no, there's no household discount. We'll go ahead and hit continue. Enter in the social security number. And then again, it carries over the Part A and Part B effective dates there. This next section is just going through the previous or existing coverage. You can notice here that the application is really easy to walk through, just completing the sections, hit continue, so it automatically jumps to the different sections here. And you can see here as I'm going through here pretty quickly, I'm already getting a green go for all of these sections. So there are some different signature options here, but you do have the options to print for a wet signature, so that is an option that you can do. In this case, we're not. We're going to do the applicant is present, and we'll go ahead and do an e-sign. And then you will type in the routing, the bank information. You can either search by the routing number, or you can type in the bank name, and it will automatically populate there for us. Now we are not validating the banking information, so the banking information is still going to go through with the application to the carrier to validate. So if for some reason you did enter an incorrect routing number or account number, the carrier will notify you of that. So we can pick when we want to withdraw from the bank account. I can select a previous day. In this example, we'll just do the last day of the month. And hit continue. The to be completed by producer section, this is where you can add any notes to the underwriter. So if you were going through this application and you answered yes to a particular health condition, or you wanted to explain a medication that they were taking, or if you needed to upload any supporting documents, the to be completed by producer section is where you are going to go through all of that. So we're going to deliver the policy to the applicant. Verify that everything you are entering is correct. Again, I don't need to add any notes here. This is an open enrollment situation. I'll go ahead and hit verify application. So when you hit verify application, it's just going to make sure that all of your sections have been completed. It's going to give you a nice summary of all of this section so you can go through and just review everything. So that's what we're going to review here. I can just make sure all of the applicant information is accurate. If for some reason I did see an error, I can go back in and edit that section. So don't worry about that. You can still go back in and make any corrections. But once you have locked an e-sign, you will not be able to go back into the application. The applicant would have to give consent to go back in. So again, another option if you wanted to print for a wet signature, you have that option. We are going to lock an e-sign now. This will be the applicant agreeing to the terms and the conditions of the electronic signature. Go ahead, I agree, and continue. So there's two ways that you can do a statement of signature. So if you are in the same physical location as the client, the applicant can provide identification information. This would be their mother's maiden name or the last four digits of their social security number. If the applicant is not present, you do have that email signature link, so it would send the individual an email for them to complete their portion of the application, that signature portion. In this case, we're going to say the applicant is present and they're going to provide identification information. You will have to open up each of these sections of the application and review them for accuracy. This is also your option to print any of these forms. So you do have a copy of that, especially the application. It's important for you to make sure that that is all in your records. I will go back to the application here so you can see that the application is filled out on the actual carrier's paper. Important to note that. So then you have, can check mark this, I have received, read, and kept a copy of the above documents. This would be the applicant signing it, so their mother's maiden name, and then the last four digits of their social. Acknowledging where they are signing, the city, the state, and the zip, and then they'll hit apply e-signature. It will then be the producer's turn to sign. It will automatically carry over your producer name as well as your producer number, and then you would go ahead and apply that e-signature and then sign application. So once that application has been signed, it's going to again validate all the information. What it's going to do when it is done is it's going to pop out a policy number for you. So it will, as you can see here, it's preparing that application. I'm in a testing environment currently, so it's not going to pop out an actually policy number, but this is where it will, so you can write that down for your records. It also gives you an opportunity to review the documents once again before you close out of the application. Then all of this is being submitted to the carrier. The carrier will review it and issue the policy. So if you hit return to applications, all of your applications are going to be stored in your applications panel that is accessible through your dashboard when you sign into the quoting tool. So you can see here that it is always going to give you a summary of the application, the applicant's name, what is the status of that application, the date you created it and last modified it. Any applications that have been completed will say completed, and it will be green, and it will show you a policy number there. You can always go back in and edit an application, so if you did start and you have to resume it at a later time or a later date, you can go back in and edit that application, or you can always discard any of those here. So when you do have a lot of applications in here, we do store the applications up to 60 to 90 days, depending on the carrier, but all of the applications will also store on that carrier's agency portal, so you can see all that information that way as well. If I needed to get back to the quoting tool, you can just hit these navigations bar and you can go back into running a quote for a different product. If you have any questions on how to use this e-application, we are always more than happy to help walk you through these if you have any questions. If you have any questions on the eligibility for writing a e-application on the platform, please reach out to Copeland. They are always more than happy to answer any questions that you have.